All right, you guys, I think we're about ready to roll. We had a few little technical issues to get ironed out there, but we're pretty much on time. I want to give a shout out to one of our title sponsors, Coach Com Company. They're one of the longest standing companies to sponsor THSCA. They've been with us since day one. Coach Com does a great job, and they're really the definitive company when it comes to headsets. Y'all remember Coach Com, and you got to buy your next headsets. Very pleased to be able to introduce head football coach at Oklahoma University, Lincoln Riley. After presiding over two of the most prolific offenses in OU history as an offensive coordinator, quarterbacks coach in 2015 and 16, Coach Riley took over the program's head coaching reins on June the 7th of 2017, following the retirement of one of the most accomplished coaches in the last quarter century in Coach Bob Stoops. OU's 22nd head coach. All Riley has done in his first 3 years at the helm is lead the Sooners to their 11th, 12th, and 13th Big 12 titles and to 3 college football playoff berths. He was also named the 2018 Co-Big 12 Coach of the Year. Coach Riley is going to be the first head football coach at OU to talk at our convention since Chuck Fairbanks did it in 1969. That's 51 years ago. And also, Coach Riley is the first quarterback for Muleshoe to ever talk at the THSCA convention. Coach Riley, we're glad to have you today. Welcome.
Coach, thank you. Yeah, definitely the first Muleshoe quarterback. That was a definite certainty. No, it's an honor to be here. Thanks for everybody for making this happen. I know uncertain times, and certainly wish we could be right there with you guys doing that in person, but hopefully get a chance to do that soon. Thanks to everybody at the THSCA, especially Joe Martin. I know he was instrumental in making this happen. So both myself and then Coach Alex Granch, who's presenting actually in the next room right now, where we're thrilled to join in here with you guys. So yeah, we'll dive right into it. I know we don't have long, so I want to jump right into it. What we've got for you today, we've got a couple of concepts that I want to talk about that we've used over the years that have been kind of, I would say, stood the test of time. So the two concepts I'm going to give you, and then if we have some time, get into a little bit of the quarterback run game like that we did with Jalen last year. But the two concepts I'm going to talk about are concepts that when we go through and we start looking at a game plan, one of our biggest deals and something I've believed in for years is going back and looking at our call sheet and how many calls on that sheet are coverage specific or what I call call specific, meaning I want to call these, or I feel the need that I have to call these, at the right time against the perfect look, the perfect defense, this and that. My thought process has always been if we've got a call sheet where more than 20% of those calls are something specific that not only do we have to execute it, but we got to call it again, right time, right coverage, right defense, pressure, no pressure, whatever it is. If that gets over 20%, to me, that gets tough. Because no matter how good I think you are as a play caller, you're just not going to hit all those all the time, hit them at the right time. And I think, at least for me, in my experience, the more calls I've got on that sheet that I don't really care defensively what they're in, that the front doesn't bother me, whether they pressure or not, whether they play man, zone, whatever. The less calls I have like that, the easier it is to call a game. And then if I've got a few calls that I really want to try to hit into this, then, I feel like I have a lot more room for error on the majority of calls. And I think also where that helps is the game, has started to move faster, as we all know, whether it's something you want to run in a tempo situation. Occasionally something unexpected happens in a game, or defense comes in and they play something totally different than what you've seen. We've seen a ton of that, I would say, over the last few years of people really kind of over game planning and doing some different things to try to combat us. And I think when you have those calls at your disposal and you have a large, part of your script that says, hey, I'm good no matter what they do. I know we can execute this, and I think it helps you, and I think it helps your players too. So with all that being said, going to talk about a couple of those calls that have certainly given us that feeling throughout the years and that we feel like we can call against anything, anytime. So I'll share the screen. This first one I'm going to talk about is our Y-Cross. This is, been something back from the old air raid days that has kind of withstood the test of time. And I would say so many of us that branched off, in the system from, Hal Mummy and kind of Mike Leach tree, everybody's kind of taken this offense, put their own spin on it, gone different directions. But this is one of the concepts I think anybody that's been in that tree continues to run, and certainly one for us. It's definitely a staple of our offense. So I'm going to take you through some of our base calls in a drop back scenario. Then going to take you through some of the play action shots that we've done with this, and then just show you this play versus different looks with a few different tags that we've liked through the years. Okay, so this first shot, as you see, is just a 2x2, and this is our just base Y-Cross. I mean, this is day one install for us. This is our day one shot. So you're going to have a must outside release vertical by the X receiver. That's that is a pure must outside release. We've worked these weak side concepts. I'll give you some examples here in a minute, but I think the weak side concepts for us have really varied through the years. Some of that's been trying to highlight a certain receiver. Some of it's been just what the quarterback's most comfortable with. But I would say any quick game concept that you believe in, you like, that really clears out that left side of the field is very doable with Y-Cross. And I'll show you some examples. But our base call is the must outside vertical. That's also a vertical that's got to be a speed release. And the reason being is we've got a speed out that's going to happen right here and become our left flat route. So the outside receiver has to know that, and that certainly dictates his release. He cannot sit there and work it all day versus a press, knowing that he's got that speed out that's going to be there right now. The Y-Cross, the meat and potatoes of this play. This is the route that you put your most versatile receiver at, and your receiver, I would say, that has the most feel. Feel is the most important thing on this route. Certainly, if you get a guy that's got feel and then can separate, then you really have a difference maker on this route, and it's very, very difficult to cover. The teaching for this route is pretty intricate for us. The base way that we teach this is in any zone coverage, we're going to go under Sam and we're going to go over Mike. And then once we clear Mike, then we're going to start climbing to any grass. If we have a safety or any player that is on top of us, so let's say a quartered safety over here that's working downhill, then we can flatten off. Or if we get any type of man coverage, then this is going to become more of a true dig type route where we're going to lean into the defender, snap it off, and be a lot more sharp with that cut. I'm also going to show you some zone looks here in a minute. We give these guys quite a bit of versatility or quite a bit of leeway on this route in some different zone coverages. I think I've got a Tampa 2 shot on here. I've got just a true cover 3 where we end up sitting it down in the middle. So a lot of ways for us to win on this route. Again, I'm going to show you a lot of examples, but that is kind of you get a great route runner, a guy with great feel on this route, and this play is very, very difficult to stop. Backside, we run our base call is a little curl that we will post stem at times, but it's a 15-yard curl. This is for when that Y gets overplayed. All right, so you'll get a shot of that, and then we put the tailback here in the weak flat. All right, so you end up with flat presence on both sides. Again, a vertical that we can tag a post to down here at the bottom, and then the two routes that really never change for us are the cross and the curl. Those we rarely tag any of those. Those are pretty standard for us. All right, so let's look at this first shot. We're just getting it here versus cover one, a little cover one pressure. Okay, so the first thing that the quarterback does, and the way that we teach this with our guys, is he's going to look at the quick game concept first. So he's going to look to his left side here. And basically what he's deciding here is, do I like the speed out and want to take it? Do I like the vertical and want to take it? Certainly here, you're going to have a shot at both. We've got a little bit of outside leverage here. So you see that receiver works a nice little stem to get some separation. We certainly could have taken that, and obviously would have had no trouble with him putting the vertical ball up right now. If he doesn't take it quickly, then he's going to get onto the Y cross, which you can see does. All right, the Y at this point knows he's got obvious man coverage. You're going to see a little bit of a snap off here. He really wins so much on the release and already has some separation that he kind of runs into it. We would have coached our Y here, especially a guy like this Y that's not an elite speed player. We would have liked to have seen a little bit more what we call stair step. So nice release, jabs him, working inside. If he feels like he's got him beat bad enough, then he can just go. But if he doesn't have proper separation, then he can lean back into him, snap him off to try to gain more separation. You know, and he had decent separation here. It's okay. Certainly could be better. And again, I think that's as wise. It comes down to, you know, who's covering you, knowing what your speed is like. Are you a guy that can really run and separate? If you are, then that's probably enough and you can just win in a foot race. If not, we would certainly want to see you stair step that. Then you can see the curl happening up top. That route for us, it's very important when we coach our receivers that they understand where they're at in the progression. And not that all these examples are going to be perfect. They won't be. But when we're coaching that curl route up top, it's basically like totally the opposite of what I just told you with this receiver here. So, yes, I have a vertical, but I got to understand this is a speed out, and I can't work this release too long. Totally the opposite scenario up top. All right, I've got that curl. I'm fourth in the progression here. All right, I've got time. So even versus a press, I can work this a lot of different ways. I can jab him outside. You can see he's kind of even at the top of this, giving him just a little head fake, kind of gets the corner off base. He's getting ready to go into that cut. He sees the ball thrown. I could even outside release this, get back under and get into the curl. He can be very, very patient. The thing we don't want for him is he can't get open too early, which means if it's off coverage, this or that, that would mean I don't get my depth on my route. And then obviously if it's press, if I speed release it and then again don't get my depth on my route, then that's when we got a problem that we have to address. I've got a bunch of examples here too, so I'm going to kind of move through these quickly because a lot of good different looks. Yeah, so let's talk about the progression a little bit more too before we do that. So the progression for our quarterback is if we've got a quick game tag over here, which most of the time we do, then he is going to peek that. He can certainly take any of them if needed, or if the matchup's great, if we get a zero pressure or any of that stuff, he can take it right now. But after that, where he goes is totally predicated on this route right here. And so what I mean by that is I don't believe that you can actually coach this as, all right, this is the first read, the second read, the third read, the fourth read, and so on. For the way we coach it with our guys is check the quick game side. After that, I go to Y. And then if Y is open, zone, man, whatever, obviously throw him the football. If he's not, then I am going to go to my next progression based on who covered that Y. All right. And so I'm going to give you some examples here in a second. All right. So this is a Tampa 2 shot. You can see we've got a different concept tagged up top. So we've got a little 6-step out with an inside fade that's happening up top. So you see quarterback stays on this, and honestly, probably a little bit longer than I would have wanted him to. I know we've got a Tampa too, so we've got a high safety, and we know this is pretty much a dead concept at this point. Really felt like he should have gotten back to the Y quicker. Y sees this Tampa too. You can see he actually settles this down. Now he does this too shallow. This goes back to, I got to know where I'm at in the progression. Why you're never first in the progression. So even if you get a zone that busts wide open like this, we don't want to sit down at 5 or 6 yards like he did. He should be pressing it all the way to 10, curling that up right now, and then we can take him. But that's certainly a big enough zone window for our Y to definitely sit down. But quarterback should be to him quicker. Y should have pressed it a little bit more, and then we're not sitting here waiting on this football and losing some of the yards after the catch that we should have. All right, that one's pretty simple. Let's look at this is a pretty good look here of the point I was making just before. And I think this is when you get your quarterbacks to understand this, and I think that's when this play becomes tough to handle. So this is actually a pretty good view of this. All right, so we're in a 2-back set now. So now we're just going to get both flat routes from the tailbacks, and we tagged X on a post route. Okay, which is, we like to do that quite a bit. We like to put that safety in a bind. All right, so what happens right now when we've got the post route? Okay, he's going to spend virtually no time here on the left side. He is going to get to Y right now because there's no quick game to the left side. That post is not a quick game. So now I'm going to get to Y right now, and this is a great job by the quarterback. So what the quarterback sees is, first, I get a roll to a 1 high. So unless this safety comes down like crazy, my post is probably out, okay? So as he's looking at Y, he feels Y separate past these defenders, but what does he feel over here? Okay, he feels this linebacker squeezing that window, which tells him right now, instead of going to Z, I'm going to go to this flat route. Okay, and now we're obviously in great shape there to the left side and have a big play. Great feel by the quarterback. We don't throw that left flat route a ton, but this is a great job of, I'm on Y. Who is covering Y? These people are not covering Y. He's even, he's leaving. All right. So, but this is what is keeping him right here from throwing this Y cross, which tells him I need to be to my flat route right now. Now, if we get coverage that is really good coverage, attaches to that Y, that Mike turns and runs with him, whatever it is, then that's what's going to get me to my Z, which obviously would have been fine here as well. But this is just a great job. You see this view for the quarterback. Great look at it. You can see he sees that 1 high. He's on that Y right now. He's thinking he's getting ready to throw it, but then feels this right here and goes straight to the tailback. Really well done. Okay, a little bit different look here. They're obviously locking the single receiver up top and getting a little bit more of a 3D kind of top concept over here. So a couple of things here. You see we've got the post tagged as well. Okay, so quarterback, again, just a quick peek here to the left side, probably just checking that release a little bit. This is certainly one for our Y that we absolutely could have and should have sat down right here. That is certainly a big enough hole in the zone window. But the quarterback sees, all right, Y has obviously been covered here by this side. Moves on to the Z. Great job stepping up into the pocket. Nicely done there. Pretty nice route by the Z. Our big deal in these curl balls, and this is a great look at it. A lot of people, I think it's interesting how you coach the top of any type of curl route. For us, the way we coach this is when a receiver goes in any type of a curl cut, his job is to come straight back to the quarterback and then adjust from there. So let's talk a few different scenarios here. Let's say this spot dropper here, let's say this linebacker in this zone drop, okay, drops with more width, okay? So my receiver comes out of the cut. He works back to the quarterback. Okay, that linebacker's closed that window. Then I adjust from there. This is one where he comes back. You can see he's really nice straight back to the quarterback. Quarterback obviously sees this defender as an issue, throws this ball a little bit more outside, and great job by the receiver adjusting. So I think for us, that's how we try to eliminate any guesswork. The quarterback knows where he's coming down, the receiver knows where he's coming down, and then any adjustment would never happen before coming straight back to the quarterback. If that happens and we're covered, then we adjust. But it always starts right there. And I think that's a point on this play that, I think we end up coaching over and over and over again, but I think it's a very, very important point. Okay, so another shot here out of a trip set. Okay, getting another cover 2 concept. So once again, looks like we've got the post tagged. Again, so just a quick peek to that left side, but he's getting the Y quickly. And what he sees with the Y, and again, this goes back to that previous point. When I get to Y, if he's open, I take him. If he's not open, then who is covering him? And what he's seeing right now, this quarterback, is defenders dropping under. Okay, Mike's running with him. That is what is going to put him to that post curl. That's what gets him backside. When he feels coverage working this way and therefore vacating the side of the field, then that's where we want to be. Really nice job here by the Z. Again, straight back and then adjust back out to the ball. Okay, really well done. And again, that's, great thing. Another great thing about this play is you can just get to it formationally so many ways. As long as you can create flat routes on both sides, there's a lot that you can do with this play. All right, let's look at a couple play action shots. Yes, there's really 2 ways to do this on the play action. For us, there's some game plan element to that. Sometimes it's, based on what we think the best protection is. There's a lot of different things that go into it, but we do it both ways. You can play action this and then still get backs out into your flats and still preserve your flat routes. Obviously, a lot of times with that, you end up, the protection ends up being maybe not as secure. And I don't know that when you do that you get the same type of true run action. But obviously there are times when, a small play action, still getting these guys out in the flats can be good. So we do a little bit of both. And I think it's important that your quarterback understands when you're going to have a flat presence and when it's going to be a true hard play action. All right. So this is going back to what we talked about before. All right. And I'm going to get to Y. I think this one we have an X post tag. Okay. So I'm going to get back to Y, and if my Y is not there, then obviously whoever's covering him, taking him away is where I'm going. So you can see we've got a hard split zone play action going here, just a slide protection. Okay, so good aggressive action by the quarterback, and eyes are to Y right now. And what he sees with Y, all right, is what you all see right there. He sees that safety triggering down on the Y cross. We're getting ready to cross and still are throwable, but obviously we know now that we've got a one-on-one, and now we're to our post ball right now. So again, who covers the Y? And then I want to make them pay by attacking that area. And that is how we coach their progression. So again, you can see eyes on Y the whole time. He's not worried about that post right now. Okay. Eyes on Y the whole time. Safety driving down. Now I'm on the post. I mean, you can see the whole thing with Kyler's eyes there. Y right now, he sees it, and that's where he's going. Okay. Yeah, a couple good things here. So this is the same play action protection, just out of a split back look here. So a couple good things here. Again, we've got the post going on. So you're going to see some kind of cool variations of this route. All right. So this is a totally different deal with the Y that's running right here. All right. This Y, this is Sterling Shepard. All right. This Y is a guy that had feel, but also could really run and separate. So, he feels himself getting attached to here, but he knows matchup wise right here that this player cannot run with him. So there's no need to stair step this at all. I mean, right now he knows I'm blowing right past this guy. All right. The other thing you can see, and I really like this about what Shep does here, is you can see how he flattens this thing off and gives the quarterback a target. And this is where feel comes in, because I'm going to show you some shots in a minute where at this point we want our receiver to keep climbing. But if they are getting attached to in man, they have to flatten off, okay, to give the quarterback a good target and to not let this ball get undercut. I don't care if it is man coverage. I don't care what else is happening. The Y has to flatten off. All right. Once he does that, we'll get the separation we need. And there we go. Once again, on the play action, he's just looking at Y right now. He knows Y is obviously good. Nothing's coming down on him. Nothing's dropping up under. So he's just letting him clear in a pretty easy throw. Now, let's say the linebacker, nickel, whoever it is, does a great job in coverage, really jumps the hell out of them. Now I'm back to the curl, obviously safety down. It's going to give me a shot to go up top with the post. So much of this is just who this guy is and how he can separate. And I think it's important when you're coaching your quarterbacks on this play of understanding, is this like this, a small, fast guy that's going to beat people with speed and quickness and explosion. You're doing this with a tight end. It's a great route for a tight end. The separation's going to be different. The target's going to be bigger. We've had a lot of success with this route with a very wide range of skill sets over the years. Okay, so totally different look here. So there's some great coaching points off this. So for us, the way we're coaching this Y right now, all right, you've seen a bunch of man looks so far. All right, so this is a zone look. So he's kind of reading right now, this Y, is am I getting attached to? And at this point, he's easily going to get over Mike, under Sam. That's easy, okay? But at this point, the second he's not attached to, you'll watch and see what he does here, okay? You're not going to see him flatten off like you have in all the man routes. Now, what we tell those guys is don't let a zone defender drop underneath and cover you. And the only way you do that is you got to climb, okay? So he knows it's zone. Again, he's not attached to. So his goal is don't let these people cover me. If somebody comes down on me, we got answers. If one of these guys turns and runs with me, we've got answers. But I don't want these people just to be able to shut down these windows. So watch as he climbs. So as he makes a decision right there, he's on the 45-yard line. Okay, look how much he climbs. Okay, so that we can get this ball over this zone defender. And honestly, if I were coaching him, I feel like he did even flatten it off a little bit too much there at the end. I would have loved to have seen even a little bit more of a high angle there to finish, to give Baker just a little bit more room to put this ball over. But I think this is another great example of why it's important. If you got that post out there, why it's important to check that Y first, check this player first, make them cover him, and then you'll know where to go, whether that's to the post or to the curl. This is that hard play action again. We just have a vertical out here with the X. This is one of those scenarios where the quarterback liked the leverage. We were formation into the boundary here, so he had a lot of space out there, and he just liked the matchup. And I think as long as he felt like the safety wasn't going to be an issue, he was going to the vert ball right now. So you can see he speeds up the fake. If you watch Baker here, knowing that he may throw the vertical, he speeds up the fake just a little bit, so that he can get back there and get a look. He knows he likes it. He knows it's a one-on-one ball because the safety stayed here, middle of the formation. And then we get a good one-on-one shot there. Don't love this by Y. Now, he does a heck of a job using the umpire there as a pick. but would love to see more snap off by the Y. Again, you're seeing a really good example here, and I know this route doesn't play out completely because the ball's thrown, but another great example of the Z, knowing he's got time. So watch his patience. Really good patience. Should have been a little bit better with the hands, but it's going to be open. And he needs to get a little bit more depth, but nice job of buying time on the route. Okay, so another just a little play action shot here. So once again, the eyes get to Y. Seeing what this side of the field looks like. He obviously feels this clearing out. I've got Y right now. I stay on it and take it. I think Y at this point, again, his job, we want him to climb. You know, we've got a little bit of a robber here that he's feeling attached to him a little bit. So he does a good job of obviously just getting clear here. I also think some of this for that Y is seeing this right here, knowing that I've got a defender in that way and I want to protect the throw. And again, that's where the feel of this stuff comes. I mean, like you could see if that Y starts climbing here with that defender sitting right there, obviously he's going to get himself covered. So there's just so much feel to this route with those Ys, and it's just showing them examples. Obviously, there's many live examples as you can get, the better. But even in like our routes on air drill, we never do the same look twice in a row, ever. When we're setting up bags, dummies, coaches out there playing DB, never, ever do we show them the same look twice in a row. Here's just a little play action shot. So just a little token play action. We're gonna get the tailback here in the flat. We're just faking a little screen out here, got a little screen and go happening. Once again, look at our Y climb. As soon as he knows, okay, that I'm not attached to, this is a beautiful job, and obviously a different skill set here. And this is Mark Andrews, tight end, 6'5", 250 pounds. Going to separate in different ways. Watch him climb. His goal is he does not want these people to be able to drop underneath and cover him. So look at that angle. The other thing you can see is he feels himself open, so he starts to just throttle down just a little bit there. Just again, so you see this route run so many different ways. And again, I think the key to it is those Ys have got to understand what you're trying to accomplish, and they got to know how they're going to separate in man and then in zone. Okay, you can see these guys, all they're doing in zone is looking like, what does this part of the field look like? If there's somebody down in this area, then I'm going to attack flat. If I know there's a lot of grass there, now that's when I'm going to climb. Okay. So another concept here that I want to talk about, and again, falls into that same category of, I feel like I can call this anytime against anything people are doing coverage-wise, anything from a blitz standpoint. Just, again, another one of those plays that I feel like has a ton of answers. And this concept has been a lot of our quarterbacks, one of our favorites over the years because of the very simple progression. So it's a little bit different than Y cross. This is a concept that it is just purely 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's work from the single receiver back across to the trip side all the time. The progression never changes, and it gets you some interesting matchups. So this is a trail. We call this trail. It's a trail concept for us. So what this is we've got a vertical out here. Now this vertical is different. It is must outside release, but it's not a must speed release, meaning he can work this a little bit different than the vertical we just saw in Y cross. Okay. The tailback has a free release swing route. So we're gone to the single receiver right now. Okay. Our number 3 receiver is going to work a little wide stem to get a natural pick here. Dig route that can be settled versus zone. My number 2 receiver is going to one step and then run a shallow route that he's got to continue running. And then we have a backside 15-yard curl here. the progression here is very, very simple. All right. The vertical is always one, and then we're just going to work, in this case, left to right. Vertical to the tailback, okay, to my under, to the dig, again, that can settle verse zone, and then the curl, which you don't get to very much, backside, okay? So it gives you a chance just to get a one-on-one vert ball in the air. You know, see Baker takes that right now. He knows he's got matchup. He's got good field space out there. He had a safety here, but obviously it's not a high safety, and it's not. He didn't get out of the back pedal very quickly, so takes it right now. So very simple, and I think that's key. One of the keys for us on this play that we constantly tell our quarterbacks is don't let them take away the X with one player. If we've got one-on-ones out there, then we need to go. All right. Make them cover to it. Make that cover one free safety, okay, fly over the top to take it away. Don't let them play the X one-on-one on this concept. If you do that, you'll get a lot of great one-on-one shots. Get the ball up out of your hands, take pressure off of your pass pro, all that. And then number two is you'll make them eventually have to start double teaming him some way, somehow, and then you're going to get a numbers game, especially with these three receivers right here. So you can see this unfolding, just a little wide stem here by the tight end, creates a little bit of a rub. Okay, see if that Mike can run with him. Obviously, if he takes that away aggressively, you can see that dig route getting ready to be very, very good. I think the other key here, and we didn't do a great job on it, the Y kind of got rerouted. I don't love the Y here. But the key for these guys is obviously we want to pick. We want him to come right off of his tail right there, which the shallow receiver does fine, okay? But this Y's got to continue to get his depth off of this because you don't want these guys covering each other up. You want to have good separation. We can illustrate that better here. Like this is just a little too close for comfort for me. I don't want that Y to get so much reroute so he can keep this vertical. Let this get out in front of him a little bit more. So now I've got a clear lane to throw through. And then that curl is really just there for when they squeeze the hell out of these two routes and you end up with a one-on-one backside. Don't get to it often, but it's there if you need it. Talk to the quarterbacks a bunch about with this tailback throw, like you're going to see here, just about matchups. So I think some of that is just knowing the defensive personnel. And then also knowing, like, do I have a dude back here? You know, if you've got a dude back there, when we had, like, Joe Mixon, we would let them throw balls out there to him that we might not throw to just an average receiving tailback. But if you got guys that you know just in space are going to be tough to handle, this is another kid we had here is really fast named Daniel Brooks. Same deal. Get it to him right now out there in space. Take it, get it out of your hands, and let him go. And have some good stuff happen. But that free release has been a good spot for us. Puts people, I think, in some tough positions against pressures and how they're going to handle the back. And again, a lot of times for us, they'll take a linebacker out there with him, but we've got a lot of field space. And again, just athletically, if we like the matchup, we'll talk about it. You know, maybe a week where, you know, they've got a will linebacker here that's 235 pounds and just runs okay. And we got a tailback. We know superior athlete. We'll be telling our quarterbacks, listen, we call this unless he just jumps him like crazy. If he's just feathering out here, give it to him right now. Make him try to tackle him one-on-one in space. So quarterbacks certainly got to understand matchups. Okay, good example here of just kind of this under route. I think why it's important to get some vertical press to start. You get this Mike here coming trying to reroute this dig. Can't transition enough to catch this under. I think that's very, very difficult. So again, I think that's why this wide stem, and we throw so much stick and, you know, again, Y cross, or, you know, we'll throw the sail route behind this. So that gives these Mikes some tough looks where he's trying to get out to get under stick. And then, man, we snapped that right back under with the cat that can run. You can see you just can't catch them. So this is certainly one. I mean, your one-on-one guy you want there. You know, this dig has some feel to it, which we'll see in a minute. And then, you know, your fastest guy is certainly who you want to play, the number 2. Again, that matchup is so tough. Again, this is why quarterbacks love this. So you see Baker here looking left. He knows the vert's out. Quickly checking the back. Obviously knows that's out. And I'm back to this right now. Another one, you can see the curl getting ready to be good. This is a wide stem curl that we want to keep wet and then come back straight to the quarterback late. The reason we do that, the reason we keep width, and again, that's why these guys got to understand not just their route, but the other routes, is that dig could potentially curl it right there in a zone. And so he's got to stay out of his way. This dig has the right of way. Okay. So definitely could have thrown the under here. I think we're kind of going back on this one. Obviously, we didn't take the vert ball here. Feeling 2 people out here with the tailback, but kind of knowing if I drop this off, if I don't get it to him quick, you know, we could have a train wreck there. So we get onto the dig, and this is a pretty good, I think, example of the dig. You could see really nice stem by the Y. Look at the separation. That's kind of what I was talking about before. That is really good separation. That's what we want to be on 2 completely different levels there. And you can see the Y right here. He knows he's open, so he starts to just throttle right there in the hole and gives us a shot right there. That's really a nice shot. I would have had no issue if he feels this defender leave him. I've got no issue with him curling it up here, but he does at least throttle it down enough to not get himself covered. Really nice job by the Y. Okay, tailback's taken away quickly. Again, there's your dig shot again right behind it. Get that mic to overcommit to it just a second. That opens up that window. If he gets squeezed by this, now I'm one-on-one out there for the curl. Great look at it right here. You can see him going through the progression. Right side. There it is. And I think that's what guys love about it. Again, the progression just never changes here. You can get through it so quickly. Only other thing I don't have, I didn't put enough probably good examples of on this concept is just obviously the picks that you create with this and man coverage. There's certainly, you know, we've been able to create some natural rubs, some natural picks. Offensive coaches call them rubs, defensive coaches call them picks, right? But that's also allowed us to gain some great separation and have some big plays there. So once again, I mean, you saw it there versus a lot of different coverages, but another great shot. Tag wise for us, I mean, we get a team that's getting the safety involved, you know, any type of quarters, this or that, we can certainly tag some posts, but this has been a play that we honestly have not had to tag very much. We've tried to keep it very, very consistent for our quarterbacks. And again, it's one of those plays you go into a game plan with knowing I really don't care what they play. I don't feel like I have to call it at the perfect time. If they come in and change coverages, my guys know the progression. Our progression is not based on coverage. Our progression is based on how we know we're going to execute the routes and moving through it in an orderly fashion. So great concept there. I think it's one, just, I know I mentioned this earlier, but if you do look at something like this, I would just definitely recommend you got to really think about who these players are going to be. I mean, again, you want a guy that can win one-on-one out here. Again, the tight end's got to have some feel, and then you want a guy that can roll. I mean, this is your guy that if they misstep at any, just like the clip I showed you of Tennessee, you want somebody from a speed perspective that can make them pay as your number 2 slot receiver there. Okay, all right. Last thing I'll talk about here is just some of this quarterback run game. I know we've all, probably dabbled in this some, depending on who our guy is. You know, this year was certainly a fun year for us with, you know, having the quarterback skill set that was a little bit different than what we had been used to with Jalen Hurts. And so we got into a little bit of this, and it was very successful for us. It's obviously, I mean, you know, everybody knows the deal in the quarterback run game. It's the back and forth of how much do you want to run your guy. You can't beat what it does as far as, you know, creating numbers in the box and chances to get the extra hat blocked. I think a couple things that we certainly learned during this year. I mean, I think the communication on it is very, very important because how you're going to handle the extra defender, how you're going to handle having the extra blocker in the backfield, there's a lot to that. But I think it creates some pretty interesting matchups. So I'm going to show you one quarterback run that was really good for us this year. We did a few different things with Jalen that were successful, but this one was pretty steady for us. I think the second thing, as you guys watch this, I mean, I would say this. I think any of your concepts from a run game standpoint, any of your schemes that you like, you can obviously, you know, apply to this. But this was a good one for us. We enjoyed it. You know, what we've seen, you know, as a lot of teams playing, it's become certainly more in vogue in the Big 12. But this, you know, the drop 8 with a lot of different coverages mixed in. Been some teams in our league that have done it very well. This was a good play against that, and we did this against 4-down teams. We did it against a little bit of everybody. It was again one of our run schemes that we can run against anything. But what you're going to see, and for a lot of our quarterback run game, is we tried to give the quarterback just two very simple options. Whether it was a quick game back to the field, a quick screen, well, that varied by game, but just one quick throw that he looked at, and then if he wasn't going to take that throw, then we got into the quarterback run. So the particular example I'm going to show you is one we ran out of 2 backs. So up here to the field, you're just going to get a flare screen to the tailback. And then after that, what you're going to get is a little fold play for us. Just kind of the old 30 base in this offense. So you're going to get the right tackle man on the defensive end. We'll get a double team here to the backside backer. We'll be man on the backside end with the left tackle. We'll pull for the front side backer, and then we're actually going to use this tailback, and he is going to be the lead player on whoever forces it. The added benefit of, if you get a secondary blitz, a corner blitz, or a safety blitz, you've obviously got something there to handle it. You know, the flare screen, what the flare screen gives you up top is if you get a field pressure, they've either got to peel, so blitz peel it to cover that, or you're obviously going to have a chance to throw that tailback up top. So the tailback gives you an answer for a field pressure. And then, you know, you're covered down here pretty well with the lead blocker for any type of boundary pressure. And then once again, if there's no pressure, he's just going to block the force player. Okay, so what happens here, it's a great job here by our X receiver. So he knows, okay, that this is that the Y is responsible for the Sam. So his job is just to block the most dangerous between these two. He obviously sees him rolling down into cover 3. Okay, so he comes straight down on it. Quarterback obviously recognizing it with this Sam hanging in the box, corner bailing out. Again, knows the matchup, takes the flare screen right now. All right, it turns into a big play. You know, the other thing you'll see with us is, I mean, you can do this with whoever you want. I mean, this is a receiver in the backfield for us. I mean, you can do this with whoever to get your matchup there. Down here at the bottom, you can see this thing starting to happen. Okay, so you see the combo block there with the center right guard. Okay, going to the backside backer. Okay, we're pulling for the front side backer. And then again, this lead back, he is on the force player or the blitzer. So again, rolling cover 3. So he is now obviously on the cover 3 safety. The receiver has to be aware of this, knowing that he's got a lead player over there. So now he's not responsible to crack that safety. He just stays on, least dangerous there. And now we're fit up pretty good. And again, in a scenario where if this Sam backer is hauling ass outside, okay, now, my chance to run right there, you can see that starting to develop and look nice. Another example, same game. All right, different coverage here. So we're getting into a type of Tampa 2 here. Again, quarterback sees it, likes the matchup. We do a nice job handling the perimeter players. Knows it's good right now. And again, the whole thing for our decision making here with the quarterback is simply that the quarterback has got to know who we're blocking. Like that's how we coach. And everybody I think's got different, viewpoints on this. So, like, do I throw the quick screen or not? And I think, oftentimes I hear guys say, well, we just read the Mike backer, or we read the safety, or we read this or that. And for me, I've never personally believed in that, because what if they come play something defensively that all of a sudden that read doesn't hold true? And so I think it's just important for us to understand who we're blocking. And if somebody else enters the party, don't throw it. I mean, it's that simple. He's got to know who the responsibilities are. So again, it's the same game. I mean, the Y was responsible for the Sam backer, number 2 there. Okay. Z was going to block the most dangerous between these players. And then the quarterback had to make a decision. Is anybody else entering the party? He knows he's handled. Okay. At this point, he knows that's handled right there. He see this backer's not running. This safety's not flying down. We're going right now. We're taking it. Done. Into the discussion. It's that simple. Again, there's some cheap, pretty easy yards out there. See our left guard obviously overshoots this on the movement. But even with that, getting ready to have a little something there, and obviously our numbers are good. Okay, another couple looks at it here. All right, so here's an example of it with the blitz happening. This is a little bit different tag off of it. So now instead of flare screening the tailback, now we're going to add him as another lead blocker to try to get everyone blocked front side. And now we've just got a 2 receiver screen. So quarterback is just looking out there at the screen. It's throwable, but it's not unbelievable with this apex player here. Okay, so he doesn't throw it. That allows this second lead blocker to get around. Again, it's the same scheme for the line, same scheme for the lead player, but all you're trying to potentially do now is get this guy on anybody we miss, or potentially get every hat blocked if you do it perfect. Again, Iowa State's bringing a corner crash here. In a perfect world, this right tackle would have passed that off and climbed up. That's a difficult thing to do. It's possible. We would expect our guys to do it. We didn't get it done. But now you've got a cleanup player for that backside backer. If you get him, then you got that cleanup player that potentially gets all the way up to the safety, and you get everybody blocked. There's a lot of space there. Again, we don't execute the blocks, especially didn't love the tailback at all. We got to be much more aggressive and go on that. But I mean, some pretty good stuff. Left tackle, once he's hinged back like this, he's got to start climbing, because he knows that end's going to see that do that. Left tackle's got to be a lot better, because really you would love for the quarterback to have a chance to get right back there. And for left tackle's taking care of that defensive end, there ain't nobody left. You know, I mean, again, you could see the setup of it. We didn't execute that nearly to our expectation level, but pretty good setup there, a lot of space. Okay, so yeah, one more shot of it. So a little bit different look, obviously defensively here. All right, they got that Sam backer now all the way outside, so we know we're not throwing a quick screen. Okay, we're quarterback run all the way. We do a better job fitting this one up. This one's a little bit sicker. Just this one, you feel like probably should have went the whole way. So again, you get this corner that's cutting this. So again, there's your force player. Lead back takes him. Receiver don't mess with him. Go ahead and go to the safety. We pull around for the front side backer. We get the backside backer blocked this time. And now you've got this player coming around that would now get this middle player. And again, you got a shot here to get everybody blocked. And we just weren't quite clean enough there with the tailback. Man, if the tailback can fit that up firm at all, I mean, you're up the sideline. But again, a lot of space. There's a great look at it right here. Chance to go the whole way, and then again, versus soft looks out here, pressures, this or that. You give the quarterback, like you saw in those clips from the Baylor game, you give the quarterback some opportunities for some easy throws as well. So I think that stuff's pretty good. It's certainly stuff that was good for us. Had some big plays off of it. And like you saw in this, we left a little bit on the table. Okay. So a few questions here. Let's see. So somebody asked here, I guess on the Y cross, y'all ever let the Z read the safety for post to post curl? We haven't. We've that quarterback, we feel like his eyes, the reason why for us is the quarterback's eyes. If he's going to go to Z, it happens late, and he's going to be looking on the left side of the field and then on that Y for so long that we wanted to make sure that he saw it. I've seen some people do that and seen that it's been good for him. But for us, just that post curl happens so late, both in the progression and then just with protection, that we felt like we want that quarterback to know exactly what he's going to get, not be wondering, is he running a post or not? Let's see, do we run the trail both ways? Yeah, we definitely do. We'll call it trips either way. We'll call it from the boundary. We'll call it from the field either way. Again, you don't have to worry about hash. Don't have to worry about, again, any scenario for us, but we certainly do run it both ways. Only way I wouldn't is if your receiver setup is best to, get your right guys, get the guys you want in the correct place, maybe on one side or the other. But it's such an easy concept, I think, both for receivers and quarterbacks, that I think you certainly can run it both ways. Is the Y hot on Y cross? Yeah, that's a good question. We, for years and years at Texas Tech, the answer was yes. We did hot him. For us now, we do not hot him on Y cross. Quarterback's got to be a little bit more keyed into the protection. But for us, our answer versus pressure, instead of throwing the hot on the Y cross, is to throw the quick game side. Again, when we've got the vertical with speed out or the inside fade or whatever it is over there, that the quick game is more of our blitz answer on the Y cross. Shot plays off the quarterback fold look. Yeah, we have. No doubt. I think the quarterback run play action, especially if you're doing it a lot, is really good. It was pretty effective for us last year with Jalen, just because we did run him so much that we got some good looks. But yeah, there's definitely some great shot plays. I mean, you start getting safeties and people slamming down pretty quick, and you could put some defensive players in a tough position with that, without a doubt. Okay, I think we're about right on time there. Once again, honored to visit with you guys. Thanks again to the Texas high school coaches for having us on. We certainly can't wait to come do this in person. But and thoughts with everybody. Let's cross our fingers that we're all playing football here very, very soon. The world needs it right now. And, but we'll be keeping up with you guys. And once again, thanks for joining today.